Welcome to my tag of the day. Today we are using Tim Holtz Distress Oxides, Stampers Anonymous stamps, Tim Holtz Engraving die cuts, and Tim Holtz label stickers. I am doing a 3-color tag. I'm using primary colors and I'm going to do some blending, a little bit of blending. So I have Lumberjack Plaid at the top, Squeeze Lemonade in the middle, and I believe it's Uncharted Mariner at the bottom. When you're blending your inks, make sure to start off of your paper and rub onto your paper. I did have a couple circle swirls in there, so I had to do a little bit more blending. I just showed that, pointed to it. And that's really because I went too firm with my my blending foam onto the paper, so it made it look like a stamp. So just be aware of that when you are blending colors. I did a little bit of spritz and dab, and that takes off a little bit of color, kind of gives you a little bit of speckly marks. And then I'm going to go in and repeat that. Don't forget to heat set in between, so you don't take off or blend your colors more than you want. So I'm going with the Squeeze Lemonade in between the two darker colors to give me a little bit of orange and a little bit of green. I didn't really get the green, but I was okay with it. Spritz a little bit more water, dab some off, and do another heat set. Once it's dry, I went with the Shadow Gray Archival, and I'm going direct to the stamp that is still connected to the packaging paper. This is a very large stamp, and I just wanted a very soft image for background. So I am just adding Distress ink, and I'm just going to lay my tag right on top. So very carefully place it down, hold it firm with one hand, and rub with the other, and you'll get a good transfer image. If you want something perfect and very, very sharp, I recommend using a stamping platform, which I've used in some of my other videos. But for this time, I wasn't going to use that. I'm using the Tim Holtz Engravings embellishments. They are a cardstock with a glossy coating, so they are a little shiny. So I like to color them in, and I'll use different things to color those. But today I'm using collage medium. I couldn't find my other glue. I normally go with an art glitter glue. I was doing like 3 projects, so I misplaced it. But collage medium works just as well. The one I'm using is a squeeze applicator. You can get it in a tub or in the squeeze, so I was using the squeeze. I am now going to color in the black and white images, and I'm going to do a watercolor technique with my Distress Oxide. So I just did a little smoosh on the craft sheet, added a little bit of water to next to each one, because I'm going to do basically watercolor. Dip it in water, dip it in the color to grab. I'm coloring in the paint tubes to coordinate with where I place them. I'm also coloring in one of the paintbrush tops. Don't forget to dry off or clean your brush in between. I started with yellow because it was lighter, went to red. At first it looked a little orange, so I did dry it off a bit and started again. But going from the red to the blue, I wanted to make sure I cleaned off my brush really well. I didn't want purple ink. I wanted to make sure it was blue and that it matched my distress background. And I have dog fuzz, so I'm going to get that off. Do a little bit more watercolor painting. Don't forget the brush. And then it needs to be heat set. I do have a lot of ink left over. Normally I just wipe it up. I had a couple people ask me, why don't you use the extra ink? So today I'm going to use the extra ink. First, I'm going to fix a little mistake. I had a little bit of blue in there on the yellow, so I used my water brush, and I actually, adding the water, it kind of wiped it off a little bit, and then I used the towel to clean it. But here we go. I'm going to use all of this extra ink that's off to the side. I have a masterboard tag that I have in my stash, and I'm just going to go direct to the tag. Just dip it in, wipe off some of the red, and then go back in with the blue, add a little bit more color. Because I didn't dry it in between, I am going to get a purpley color, which is fine. And then I just cleaned up what was left. I am not going to work on that tag today. I just left it over to the side to dry. Dried off my hands, used my We Are Memory Keepers corner punch and the slotted punch to put the hole in the top. And I'm going to go back in and distress the edges of my tag with the coordinating color. So the lumberjack plaid on top, squeeze lemonade in the middle, and then the salty ocean at the bottom. I do wipe off a little bit of blue that got onto the engravings piece, just buff it off at the bottom. These are Tim Holtz label stickers. They are slightly embossed, remind me of those old Dymo lettering label machines. They're kind of fun. But this is my tag of the day. Thanks for watching, everyone. For more of my tag of the day, visit me on YouTube from my scrap room and check out the playlist. Have a great day and happy crafting.